Eli.
Good evening, and thank you for attending the 2023-2024 Gloversville School District budget hearing. On April 3rd, 2023, the Board of Education adopted a $74,015,431 budget for the 2023-24 school year. It is important to note that instruction, fringe benefits, and debt service expenses represent just under 85% of the overall budget. General support is up approximately $515,000, and this includes the expenses for the Board of Education, Superintendent, Business Office, Buildings and Grounds, Communications, Legal, Fiscal Advisors, Printing, BOCES administrative costs, Property Insurance, and Data Processing Services. Data processing includes a majority of the programs that support the data infrastructure of the district: School Tool, Finance Manager, Envision, Frontline for Special Education, Tax Billing, Athletic and Facilities, Use Software, Programs to Enhance Instruction, and some computer technology support. During the 22-23 school year, the district entered into a contract for cybersecurity with Arctic Wolf. They are responsible for monitoring all district platforms to reduce the risk of a cyber attack and puts the district in compliance with EdLaw 2D and with the National Institute of Standards and Technology that sets the recommended guidelines, standards, rules, and best practices for organizations to follow to improve their risk management processes. Districts throughout the state are at risk of being infiltrated, and this added layer of security helps to protect the data of our scholars, staff, and the district's financial accounts. All of these services are eligible for BOCES aid. Gloversville's BOCES aid ratio is 84%, so it makes sense to use programs offered by BOCES to provide these services. Expenses that are typically found in these other budget areas are for salaries, costs to run the board election and budget vote, conference expenses, costs to maintain the buildings and grounds, which is gas and electric, water and sewer, cleaning and custodial supplies, pool maintenance, supplies for minor building repairs, fertilizer, salt, and sand, the property insurance, and BOCES administration fees. You will note that the utilities line items have not increased as the district is receiving savings from participation in the agreement with the city for the solar power at the old dump site. The solar field at the high school is online, and the district is seeing the savings generated by this power source as well. The participation in the Energy Consortium has also aided in the cost containment of the utilities expenses. The central printing copy machine maintenance, copy paper, and postage are also included in general support. General teaching is up approximately $200,000 and includes all expenses associated with educating the scholars: curriculum, building administration, general teaching, special education, vocational education, summer school, library media, IT, guidance, nursing, social work, clubs, and athletics. The majority of these expenses are for salaries. However, special education placements in private, public, and BOCES programs, student enrollment in PTEC, alternative education, and CTE, which is career technical education, programs are also part of this group of budget codes. Additional CTE positions were included this year, and the district has over 100 scholars attending the various PTEC programs. There is 1 teacher and 4 teacher aide positions included so that scholars in a special education program can be brought back to the district. A new literacy program is being implemented in 2023-24, and funding is included for professional development and consumables to support this program. Expenses for instructional math and ELA coaches provided by HFM BOCES had previously been funded through the federal stimulus money, but needed to be included in the general fund in this school year. Social emotional learning and services to address the mental health needs of our scholars is paramount to their success. Included in these budget codes are contracts with the Family Counseling Center and Fulton County Department of Social Services, both of whom provide staff to assist our scholars manage the daily struggles they face. Transportation is up $900,000. These costs include the gas and diesel fuel, electricity and gas for the bus garage, the cost of the cooperative transportation services with BOCES, and contract transportation with outside vendors when a transportation run cannot be provided by BOCES. Due to the shortage of bus drivers and bus aides, BOCES had to contract with a private vendor to provide transportation to our scholars who receive education out of the district. These contracts are extremely costly, so every effort is made to provide the service in-house whenever possible. Gloversville receives 90% transportation aid on both in-house and contract transportation expenses. Fringe benefits are up $1.2 million. And included in these line items are expenses for employee, which is non-instructional, and teacher retirement, Social Security, workers' compensation, unemployment insurance, health, and dental insurance. During the 22-23 school year, the Board of Education settled negotiations with those employees represented by CSEA and the teacher unions. Money for negotiations is also included in these line items. The district's contribution to the retirement system is based on employee salaries, so as salaries increase, these costs increase as well. The healthcare industry in general is experiencing a rise in costs. With the pandemic nearing the end, people are having elective surgeries they postponed, visiting doctors more frequently, and utilizing healthcare services in general more often. The district is part of a health insurance consortium and are fortunate to be able to negotiate the health insurance premiums paid by the district. This year, the rate increased by 5%, which is 3 to 4 points lower than the state average. For the first time, dental insurance is being offered as a benefit through the health insurance consortium, and the district is experiencing a savings of just over $20,000 because of this. Fringe benefits account for approximately 21% of the overall budget. Debt service is up $285,000, and debt service is the payment for the principal and interest on the bonds and bond anticipation notes associated with the capital projects. The district's fiscal advisors review the outstanding debt and assist with the planning of future projects to ensure that debt service payments don't fluctuate and affect the tax cap and the ability to provide consistent tax levy figures from year to year. Gloversville has a 98% building aid ratio for projects approved after 7/1/05. Revenue projections. Revenue projections for state aid haven't changed, even though the budget was just passed today. So state aid is up $5.6 million and is attributed in large part to the increase in foundation aid, which is just over $3 million, building aid and transportation aid. Property tax increased by 0.23% and is in line with the tax cap calculation. Other revenue includes interest and penalty on taxes, interest on investments, Medicaid, admissions to games, tuition from other districts, BOCES rental of district classrooms, and use of facilities. The current interest on the district's investments is close to 5%, which is the highest it has been in years. To avoid fluctuations in revenue, a conservative increase in this revenue line item was used. The district's financial advisors review the district's debt service principal and interest payments and assist in planning the appropriate use of debt service reserve funds based on building aid being received from the state. In 2023-24, no use of debt service reserve funds is needed. Fund balance has been appropriated at $444,589, which is about $1 million less than the 22-23 school year. Use of fund balance is taken into consideration in the district's long-term financial plan and allows for increases in appropriations to provide a sound education for our scholars and keep the tax levy increase at a minimum. A proposition will be on the ballot for the purchase of 3 66-passenger school buses that will have no impact. Training of mechanics and the cost of these buses are some of the things that will affect this mandate. Replenishment of these reserve funds will be made through unappropriated fund balance as of June 30, 2023. Aid is received based on a 5-year amortization schedule developed by the state. So the total proposed general fund budget is $74,015,431, which is an increase of $3,188,214, or just about 4.5%. So if the voters reject the proposed budget, the Board of Education may choose to adopt a contingent budget. There are 3 regulations associated with a contingent budget. The tax levy can be no greater than the prior year. Non-contingent expenses must be removed, and it has to be in compliance with the administrative component cap. An ordinary contingent expense is defined as an expense necessary to provide minimum services legally required to operate and maintain school buildings and the educational program, preserve the property of the district, and ensure the health and safety of students and staff. A contingent budget for Gloversville will mean a reduction of $60,000 in expenses. Equipment is not considered an ordinary contingent expense, So the custodial equipment, bus lift for the high school auto technology program, and technology purchases would have to be removed. Another contingent budget rule is the percent of the expenses attributed to the administrative component cannot exceed the prior years. So in 22-23, the administrative component was 8.70%, and in 23-24, the administrative component is the same. So this will remain the same even if the contingent budget is adopted. As you can see, the district is required to present the budget in three components: administrative, program, and capital. The administrative component consists of those expenses not directly associated with instruction: Board of Education, superintendent, business office, legal, etc. The majority of the program component is expenses related to the instruction and transportation of the students, and the capital component consists primarily of buildings and grounds and debt service expenses. The administrative component is computed by subtracting the capital component and dividing the administrative component by the total of the administrative and program components combined. It's complicated, but not really. The administrative component would still be 8.7% in a contingent budget situation. It sounds complicated. So the polls will be open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Gloversville High School and Bleecker Town Hall on May 16th. For those who have registered as permanently disabled with the Fulton County Board of Election, absentee ballots have been mailed. If you would like to request an absentee ballot, please visit the district website for an application and further instructions. If you have any questions about where you vote or to request additional information, please call the district office at 518-775-5706. The ballot details are voters may vote for up to 3 Board of Education members whose terms will be for 3 years, and 1 Board of Education member who will fill a 1-year term. The following incumbents are on the ballot: John Lott, Michael Oathout, and Sharon Poling. Proposition 1 will be approval of the 23-24 budget, and Proposition 2 will be approval of the purchase of 3 66-passenger school buses from the School Bus and Vehicle Reserve Fund. I would like to take this opportunity to ask you to please consider what you are voting on when you cast your vote on May 16th. Expenses that are considered ordinary contingent expenses are not affected by a no vote. Salaries, fringe benefits, BOCES, special education, and debt service will remain the same and consist of 93% of the overall budget. Please consider these as you cast your vote on the 16th. Also note that approving the purchase of buses does not affect the tax levy or your school tax rate. This purchase is from a separate funding source. Copies of the proposed 2023-2024 budget are available at each school building and on the district website. Budget newsletters are being mailed this week with more information. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to call the business office or send us an email. Thank you.